Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Kung napanood niyo yung isang episode ko kahapon yata or 2 days ago, nabanggit ko, no? Sabi ko, itong suki nating si Attorney Lou, nag-appear, no? He was invited as a resource person basically sa isang meeting sa House of Commons, meeting ng Committee on Citizenship and Immigration to get his insights. Specifically, ang kanyang toka, no, ang kanyang pinag-usapan doon yung French draws under the category-based draws under express entry. O sige, papakita, ano to? Papasok ko si Attorney Lou, di ba? I'm so proud. Again, tulad na nasabi ko dun sa dun sa isang episode ko.
May souvenir pa ako, di ba? Thank you,
Kinailangan
taxpayers of Canada. Kailangan ko bilhin yan kasi hindi pa pwede yung AirPods, hindi pa pwede yung sa laptop. Very strict yung House Committee actually. And for those who, parang na-mention ka na naman before, this is my second time sa House. I got invited back in 2021 to speak on immigration issues as well back then. Pero yun nga, so parang medyo praktisado na this time. So medyo, parang okay, kalma na. Kasi the first time, sobrang atake de nervios talaga the first time, my God.
Correct. And before we talk about yung issues that you raised there and you were asked about, I'm curious, how do they find you? Ano ba ang yan? Like, how do they know na, ay, gusto ko yata imbitahin tong Ludang Zalan na ito? Yung mga gano'n. How do they find you?
So, there are a few ways to do that. So, for example, if you're part of an organization, pwedeng i-nominate ka ng organization and the organization can approach the committee, secretariat, and like suggest that, hey, we are a stakeholder. Who are we? Like, for example, the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association or the Canadian Bar Association Immigration Section. Meron kaming mga members who are like, hasado dito sa area na ito. We would like to make an intervention sa study ninyo. We see that you have a study and you called for participants. May ganon. May iba naman na mas malakas ang loob na nagvo-volunteer and tinatanggap din naman ng committee. Meron din naman mga i-endorse kayo ng mga MP na members of the committee. Kasi kagaya siya sa Philippines, like yung committee na to, hindi naman lahat ng MPs members ng given committee. So, di ba, member ka ng particular committees. The first time I got invited, I was endorsed by an MP. And that was 2021 yung si MP Alexi Brunel Dusep. So, na-invite ako through his office. He asked if I would be willing. Sabi ko, of course. Okay. Tapos, this time around, Rando, wala. Nananahimik ako. Kasi masaya na ako sa sa House Committee of Ina Andolong.
In a nutshell.
House Committee of In a Nutshell. Yun, masaya naman na ako doon. So parang, but in all seriousness, so nagulat ako kasi ito yung time na parang last week kasi, nasa Mexico ako. So for those who look into my LinkedIn, nagpo-post ako doon, tsaka doon sa Facebook page namin. Nasa Mexico City ako kasi we were, the Canadian Bar Association organized a site visit sa visa office. Very rare yun, ha? The last time that the Canadian Bar Association was able to pull this off, to convince a program manager to welcome us inside the embassy, was 25 years ago in New York.
Wow!
Yes, they're very rare.
They gave you a tour and then tinanong nyo sila, bakit ba ganito? Ang bagal ninyo.
Yes, oh my God. Everything under the sun. So sobrang chop-chop. So in person kasi, diba? So the in-person ako. Tapos syempre, medyo umepal ako. Lumapit ako doon sa gitna talaga para malapit ako doon sa program manager tsaka sa first secretary. So malapit sa kusina. So may thematic, may slideshow sila. Ito yung ginagawa naming linya of business. Tapos kami naman, we were invited to put in the questions. Pero yun nga, in the heat of it, sobrang sunod-sunod yung questions. And the visa officers, the immigration officers, they were like, sige pa, bilisan natin. Ang galing, sobra. Out of all the continuing legal education sessions that I've attended, this one by far is my favorite.
I'm finding your picture ngayon eh. Teka nga, ito, nakakatawa to. I don't hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna put it up. Hold on.
Oh no, I think I know which one.
Tignan niyo siya. Attorney Lou. So yan.
Yung una seryoso, tapos sabi ko, sige nga. Yeah.
Ayun. Okay. And of course, no, hindi ko na po-post yung iba kasi you have friends there. Baka ayaw nilang magpakita, no? Okay, bumalik na tayo dito sa House of Commons. Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration. Ito po yan, ano? Actually, accessible siya sa portal ng House of Commons. Lahat ng committee meetings nila doon. Papakita ko sa inyo itong bandang to. Ayan, nakita nyo si Attorney Lou. Right. Okay, sige, let us know. Ano ba, Attorney Luna sa lahat? I mentioned, no, you were there initially, yung opening statement mo, merong on the French category draws. Ano yung main concerns mo ba, inputs mo na binigay doon about the French category draws? Which, alam mo, lagi ding nababalita ngayon. Kasi guys, tuloy-tuloy ang pagtataas ng allocation for the draws ng French speakers.
Yes.
Oo, sige. So, ano yung concerns mo doon?
I mean, I was concerned. So, first of all, like, let's recap. Walang toka, actually. Yung invitation is like anything under the sun about the immigration program. And specifically, in this particular study session now, they wanted to look at the immigration levels and the immigration program as a whole. So, okay, sabi ko, ano bang magandang issue? Nakikita ko na yung friends ko sa LinkedIn, sa mga group chat namin as lawyers, na lahat na sila nagre-reklamo na. Nakikita ko rin yung mga consultants, napapairap na rin talaga every time that there's a French draw. At first kasi sabi ko, okay, this is great for Francophone vitality. Pero sabi ko, okay, we're increasing the numbers. And no disrespect to Francophones in Canada, pero parang nadi-defeat yung point about express entry because it's supposed to be like predictable, it's supposed to be like, you know, accessible to the rest of Canada. So syempre may mga umaalma na. And habang tumatagal and more recently, mas aggressive na yung mga nakikita natin against the Francophone draws, di ba? So sabi ko, okay, maybe it's time to actually like, you know, bring something up. So ang ginawa ko before actually like writing my opening remarks there, binasa ko yung transcripts ng mga previous hearings nila for this particular study. So nakita ko hindi lang si kasi the panel before me, kasi two panels yun second panel ako. May isang consultant na nag-appear. I think his name is Paolo Sini.
I have it here. Oo.
Yeah. He basically said na distortion daw ng express entry, and I do not disagree. I actually agree very strongly that it is a distortion of the purpose of express entry. Tama naman siya. Pero yun nga, sabi ko, but there's gotta be a way that we can have our cake and eat it. Diba yung expression na ganun, diba? Kasi parang either or, o baka pwede namang pareho. There must be a win-win scenario. So sabi ko, ano bang pwedeng gawin? Tapos binalikan ko yung mga transcripts from previous hearings nga. Tapos sabi nga doon, yung mga Francophone communities na na-invite, tuwan-tuwa sila sa program and they want to keep the program because it increases Francophone vitality talaga, lalo na sa mga remote communities. Okay, fine. But how do you keep the integrity of express entry? So kami ni CJ, yung case manager ko, i-credit ko rin siya dito, we were like brainstorming, paano ba to? So, baka naman pwede kasing tanggalin na lang talaga yung French category-based draws. Like for French. Baka pwedeng, ang gawin na lang, itaas yung bilingualism points.
Yung points, yeah.
Oo. Okay. Kasi right now kasi nakasiling siya to 50 points, di ba? Pagka mataas ang French score mo and you already speak English, theoretically, you can possibly like max out at another extra 50. So why not increase that to 100? Para at the same time, yung labanan dito ng mga nasa express entry pool, okay, we are incentivizing French speakers, but at the same time, naka-prioritize pa rin yung mas level playing field.
Yeah.
Ano na lang siya, parang additional siya kung nurse ka that is bilingual. Kasi kailangan naman talaga ng bilingual healthcare providers, for example. Kasi isipin mo, balik na rin natin yung situation, kunwari in Alberta, kunwari lang. French first sila, tas English speaker ka. Constitutionally, you are protected with your linguistic rights that English and French are equal languages, and then you want to be served in English. Diba? Paano yun kung walang English-speaking nurse? Sino magsaserve sa'yo? Walang
Yeah.
English-speaking doctor. Baliktarin natin. Ganun ang pakiramdam ng mga francophones. Siguro, dear siya to my heart because I did my studies in French in Canada. And I understand Canada's like politics of like prioritizing French. It is affirmative action.
Yeah.
Unapologetic naman ang Canada about that. But at the same time, yun nga, there's gotta be a win-win solution for this. So yun nga yung pinopose ko sa House.
I
Na
see. Oh, yun
tanggalin na lang yung category. Taasan na lang ang points.
We actually had an episode a while back, no, talking about yung concerns about yung mga kinukuhang French speakers, parang may questions about their yung
Human
skills na may
capital.
offer nila. Marunong lang silang
Exactly.
mag-French. But how do you
Yeah.
know if they can contribute economically, 'di ba? Kung
Yes.
Oo,
It's-
sige. Let me play yung sinasabi mong si Mr. Paulesini because I noticed after that committee meeting, nag-viral yung kanyang clip na yun na nga sinasabi niya, masyadong pinaprioritize basically yung French draws. Nakakalimutan yung real purpose ng express entry which is to attract economic workers. Nauuna pa daw PR, makakuha ng PR yung mga French speakers who are outside Canada without Canadian experience. Then, let's say, those on work permits na high-skilled already inside Canada, mas mahirap pa daw silang makakuha ng kanilang experience. O sige, let me put that up. No?
Chair and committee members. Canada is deporting data scientists who are working in Canada who studied at our world-class institutions while importing unemployed insurance agents and line cooks from overseas.
Did he say deporting?
The system is no longer driven by economics, but by administrative convenience and political quotas. My name is Stephen J. Palasini. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, an entrepreneur, and a very proud Canadian. I've consulted with thousands seeking to call Canada home, and I've watched this system deteriorate in real time. Take my co-author on this brief, Nino Melakidze, a tech entrepreneur who built ImmiTracker, the largest international peer-to-peer immigration process tracking platform. The system that granted her PR years ago no longer exists. If she applied today, she wouldn't make the cut. Her spot would go to someone overseas with half her qualifications, none of her Canadian work experience, selected not for economic potential, but to hit a linguistic quota that 85% of stakeholders were not in favor of. Express entry was designed, and I quote from the Act, to select those with the ability to become economically established. The problem is that the overwhelming majority of candidates already working and studying in Canada outside Quebec don't speak French. So this quota, IRCC had no choice but to look overseas and sacrifice human capital and skills selection by extracting candidates with no work experience in Canada, no Canadian education, no job offers, people who've never even paid a dime in taxes here.
Okay, I'll cut it there na, no? Totoo, no, Lou, I think there's a misconception kasi na yung mga naka-work permit dito, temporary foreign workers, yung mga kababayan natin nasa isip, madalas, ito yung mga low-skilled. No? But there are highly skilled people on work permits. There are doctors, di ba may nababalita? There are doctors on work permits. Ito yung binanggit niyang example, a tech entrepreneur on work permit. Na kung tutuusin,
I have clients who are doctors. I have clients who are data scientists din na mga top tier na nagpapatakbo ng financial institutions in Canada. Hindi ko na lang sasabihin pero alam mo kung sino ka and I have you in mind and heart at all times. Kasi naiinis din ako kagaya nitong consultant na to kasi totoo naman, may point siya. Na ito rin yung tinanong sa akin nung sa panel naman namin. Tinanong ako in French ni MP Brunel Duceppe. Sabi niya, like, what about this unpredictability in the immigration system? Di ba lagi natin pinag-uusapan yung policy stability, di ba? Sabi niya, like, meron bang reputational impact ito sa Canada? Sabi ko, of course it has a reputational impact. Because foreign nationals who come to Canada aspiring for permanent residence have to plan and have to execute their plan with the expectation na kapag sinunod nila yung plan na sinasabi at nilalatag ng Canada, na ito ang mangyayari kapag ginawa mo yung A, B, and C,
Mhm.
abay magkakaroon ka ng permanent residence. Pero paano kung every 24 hours nagbabago yung policy?
Yeah.
Anong klaseng dance revolution yan, 'di ba? Anong klaseng trip to Jerusalem yan? Sino talagang hindi may inis, 'di ba? So
Yeah.
gets ko kung saan nanggagaling yung consultant. So sabi ko, yeah, may reputational damage pa, of course. And minsan may mga consultations na rin ako nasasabi ko, maybe Canada's not for you. Kapag ka nasa labas nila, it happens. It happens. Marami din kasi akong consultations. I mean, most of my consultations are of people in Canada trying to figure out like how to stay. Pero syempre, meron pa rin ako mga consultations from outside. And yun nga, talagang yung real talk is like, you gotta wait until like Canada passes through this like, trial and tribulation. Kasi nga, kung walang stability and predictability in the system, paano ka gagalaw, di ba? Paano ka kikilos?
Oh. And what Attorney Lou is trying to say also is, sayang yung talent ng mga taong to, then they will find and contribute in a different country.
Yes.
Right. Oo.
Yeah.
At tapos, at the same time, nakaka-frustrate kasi makikita mo that people overseas, again, without Canadian experience, are being invited because they have a certain proficiency in French. Diba? Ganun ba?
Yeah, I think that's a little, doon ako medyo napa question mark. Kasi if you look at the Francophone draws, I mean, actually,
ang baba kasi nung points, right?
Ang baba talaga eh. So, totoo din, may point siya kasi parang, okay, let's assume na may foreign work experience ka, you're from, let's say, Algeria, 1 year kang nag-work doon or 2 years kang nag-work doon, French speaker ka, yung points mo pwedeng makapasok under FSW eh. Kasi yung Francophone draws, usually hindi lang yan sa Canadian experience class pool kumukuha, pati din sa FSW pool.
Yeah.
So, tama siya eh. Bakit nga ba ganun pinaprioritize? Akala ko ba, sabi nila, naka-prioritize tayo dun sa mga nasa in Canada. Diba? So, yeah, it is agitating. Pero, as I said, yun nga, parang nag-offer ako ng middle way dito for MPs to kind of like consider in their study na, wait, baka naman meron tayong way to actually make the Francophone program work, but not in this current iteration. So, yung ultimate submission ko dun is like, this is a good start. But let's rethink this because we now know the flaws and the limits. I think we need to think if we should have separate draws for French. I think what we could do is we could just increase their points. At makipaglaban sila dun sa mga nasa Canada na mga doktor nga or mga data scientists, diba?
Correct. But we're not saying, no, Attorney Lou, na wag sila mag-explore nitong Francophone draws. In previous episodes, actually, we've been stressing that it could, boost your chances of getting drawn for your PR here in Canada. Hindi naman po yung sinasabi natin, guys, you can still go and learn French if you want to. May chance kayo dahil, again, ang taas ng allocations for French speakers in the coming years. All right. By the way, guys, no, hindi po nagtatapos dyan. Ito, no, si Attorney Lou, after that committee meeting sa House of Commons, he will still be submitting, ano tawag doon na Attorney Lou?
So typically kasi if you watch the committee hearing, sobrang limited yung time and limited yung round of questions. Sobrang konti lang talaga yung mapapasok mo. Actually, yung submissions ko talaga, dinesign ko for it to be like 4 to 5 minutes. So na-deliver ko siya in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But ultimately, you have 5 minutes for your opening statement. So parang the balance of it is like through Q&A. And yung Q&A and driver niyan is yung question ng MP, di ba? So you are, it is open to you as an invitee to basically make additional written submissions to the committee. So thank you, Ina, for providing this platform. Kasi meron ako mga gustong isuggest additionally sa committee. Pero guys, yung mga nakikinig dyan, baka may ideas din kayo na makatulong sa immigration system natin. Lagyan nyo sa comment section. Babalikan ko yan. Tapos mag-discuss tayo doon. Let's be respectful. Pataasin natin yung engagement ni Ina for this video. Di ba?
Baka meron kayong inputs na pwedeng idagdag ni Attorney Lou sa kanyang section. And it does
I
not
am
need to be about the French draws, Attorney Lou.
no,
Anything.
no, anything,
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
I'm genuinely curious about what our kababayans in Canada think about the immigration system. Constructive po, let's be respectful, let's not be racist. I'm looking at you. Sino ba si you? Di ko alam kung sino si you eh. Hugh Grant? No, but in all seriousness, like yeah, like yun nga, I'm really looking forward to like hearing like what our kababayans think about this kasi opportunity natin to contribute. I'll cite yung channel mo dun sa ano
Yeah.
sa
Ay, thank you.
submissions.
Oh, sige
Hindi,
na.
I'll just like kasi yung community like yun nandyan eh. So hindi naman ako yung may authorship nung ideas. Balansehin natin. Tapos ano ko na lang, i-condense ko, and then what I'll do is I'll put it in a PDF document. I'll send it to the house, pero I'll make it accessible sa'yo para mailagay mo sa next I don't know where you can post it. So people can
Sure.
read it.
Sige,
then.
sige.
Diba?
No, madali ko
Yeah.
nang pag-aralan kung paano natin gagawin yan.
Yeah. So
Alright.
yun, ang dalawang points na lang siguro is like yung idadagdag ko dun is yung napag-usapan nga natin kanina sa virtual studio is number one, magtatawag ako, i-renew ko yung calls na sinabi ko noong 2021 nung first time ako nag-appear. We need an immigration and refugee citizenship ombudsperson. Kasi service standards at immigration is so inconsistent. And kapag may problema, wala tayong tanod bayan. Wala tayong masusumbungan.
Para puntahan yung mga naman, yung mga officers siguro na
Oo.
matududa ka ba?
Kasi paminsan, of course now that I've met some of these like visa officers, tao din sila, nagkakamali sila. But we need to have a system na, alam mo, may pwede tayong suplungan, di ba?
Mhm.
So, meron tayong pwedeng sandalan para naman may rigor din sa loob ng department. Kasi minsan, not saying na petik sila, pero alam naman natin na yung decision making sometimes, paminsan parang magtataka ka talaga, hindi talaga nagko-connect with what you submit.
Yeah.
Diba?
Ay.
Pangalawang point is, I think because napaka-useful na itong House Committee study na ito on immigration, the problem with these studies is, kung mapapanood nyo nga ito dun sa Parlview, very limited yung interventions and sometimes nagiging venue siya for political grandstanding.
Mhm.
Hindi ko na lang babanggitin kung sino yung mga yon, pero makikita ninyo, clear as day kung sino yung mga nagga-grandstanding lang. Pero yung point ko dito is, kailangan natin ng commission, siguro panahon na. And hindi naman first time ito na magkakaroon ng commission to study a particular issue in Canada. So I would call, na-call na rin to before namin, ng isang royal commission to study immigration in Canada to chart the long-term future of Canadian immigration in this new global world order nga, na medyo nagdi-decouple tayo from the United States. It's a multipolar order. Ano ba yung itsura ng ekonomiya ng Canada? Obviously, kung mag-iiba yung itsura ng ekonomiya ng Canada, kailangan yung immigration system natin mag-adjust to the needs of that new economy. So ano ba yung itsura nun? Nakafocus ba tayo sa artificial intelligence? Nakafocus ba tayo sa, let's say, critical mineral sector? Nakafocus ba tayo on clean energy? Dapat ito yung mga iniisip natin. And how does that translate into our future economy? Para sa anak na ni Ina, for example. Diba? We have to think that long term. And it cannot be done in a simple parliamentary study. And walang bandwidth ang IRCC to do this.
Yan, oo nga. No, I agree, no? Kasi ngayon limited, no? Parang mga 3 years looking ahead lang sila.
Yes.
So, I agree. All right. Guys, abangan namin yung comments niyo dyan sa baba. But then, we'll talk about another, siguro, episode wherein we can discuss kahit siguro live, to get their inputs tungkol sa changes na yung makita sa immigration system ng Canada. Okay, we will end this episode here. Thank you so much, Attorney Lou, as always. See you guys in the next one. Bye!